Okay. We're still waiting on Miss Naranjo. I know she was in another hearing this morning. We'll go ahead and get started, and I'm sure she'll join us shortly. This is an initial permanency hearing. Mr. Graff is with us for the department. Ms. Nelson's with us for CASA. Ms. Stevens is with us representing the father, Mr. Goldsmith, who's not with us. Ms. Stevens, were you expecting Mr. Goldsmith?
Your Honor, I did send him the link, and I've sent him multiple emails, and he's basically cut off communication with me, so I don't think he's going to be here.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Ms. Pierce, the mother, is not with us, and she's not in the waiting room. I do have Peyton Sim in the waiting room. Mr. Graff, is that your witness?
It is, Your Honor. If you could please admit her. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. I'll get her in. All right. Thank you. For the record, this case was set for 10 o'clock. It's now 10:06. We will proceed in both the mother and father's absence. Mr. Graff, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Ms. Sims. Just a few questions for you. At this point in time...
Excuse me, Mr. Graff. Sorry to interrupt you. Mr. Naranjo is joining us right now. So.
Oh, great. Okay.
Apologies for being late, Judge.
That's all right.
I'm a little late.
I know you had another hearing. We've just now called Ms. Sim as the first witness, and she's just now starting to testify.
Thank you, Judge.
You didn't put her in, though.
Oh, I didn't. Yeah, I did. Ms. Sim?
Yeah.
Didn't I? Yeah, I did.
It's Friday.
Apparently, I'm zoning out, but there it is. Yes.
Don't do that to me on Friday. All right, Mr. Graff.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Sims, what efforts have been made to locate and request service of citation on all persons entitled to service?
I believe they both have been served by appearance on 4/17/2024.
Great. And have all issues of paternity been resolved at this point in time?
Yes.
Now, it's true we did file a request for an order amending the file to reflect a correct child's name and father's name. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And it was just correcting as to spelling as to the father and adding the child's middle name, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And at this time, can Braley safely be returned to either parent's home?
No.
Okay. Is it still contrary to her welfare to do so?
Yes.
Okay. So there is a continuing need for placement, and it is appropriate and in Braley's best interest at this time?
Yes.
Okay. Is she placed with a relative or a designated caregiver?
No.
Okay. But has she been placed in a developmentally and age-appropriate manner? Excuse me, strike that. Have the parents or other family members identified any potential placements if the child obviously is unable to be placed with either parent at this time?
The parents haven't identified any, but I did submit a diligent request to try and locate some.
Okay. But at this point in time, you've had no hits on that request?
No.
Okay. And are there any plans or special services needed to meet Braley's special needs or circumstances?
Not at this time.
Okay. But she is developmentally, where is she at compared to at the beginning of the case?
So she's doing a lot better. She is receiving ECI services, though, because as of right now, at her age, she should be able to eat food through the mouth, and she's still on a G-tube. And so she receives services on swallowing motions, tongue motions, mouth motions, and how to properly do that. So she is behind, but she's getting
it. And she is gaining weight, correct?
Yes.
Okay, good. And the foster parents are able to meet those needs?
Yes.
Okay. Regarding the parents, are either of the parents compliant with the temporary orders and the service plan? And what is the extent of if any, of their progress at this time?
Yes. So we'll start with Miss Pierce. Miss Pierce has been in contact with the department. Her and I talk pretty often. She does attend her visits, and her visits go very well. As far as her drug screen goes, she has not drug screened at all for the case. I am unable to go to her home. She has asked that I do not appear at her home, and so we meet at the courthouse. So I've been unable to look at the housing and determine if it's appropriate or not. Mom has found a job, and she has been employed since August 2nd, and I do have the pay stubs. Mom has not started individual counseling. She has not started OSAR. She did complete a parenting class. However, I did advise her that this parenting class would have to be approved by the department before completion. And she didn't get it approved before, but when she did complete it, I sent it to my supervisor, and my supervisor did not approve of it because we were unable to verify the criteria needed for the completion of the course. And she has not started her psychosocial assessment.
Okay. And so on that parenting class, you haven't been able to get in and evaluate the syllabus or what is covered in that class. Is that right?
Not at this time, no.
Okay. So you would have been open to giving credit for it, but you haven't received enough information. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Okay. But as far as any of the other court-ordered services, there's been no compliance at this point in time.
Correct.
Okay. And then what about Mr. Goldsmith?
Yes. So I tried to contact Mr. Goldsmith on several occasions with no response. And I think in August, I realized that his phone was turned off because there was no deliverance on my trying to communicate with him. So I got in contact with his attorney, and she emailed him, and then I was able to email him, and I finally was able to communicate with him. He has not started services at this time. I did explain the FSNA or the FPOS to him again and kind of went through it briefly on the email. This was the very end of last month, and I would like to be able to meet with him in person and really sit down with him and go over it and see if he does have any additional questions, because I don't think he understands really what's going on and what he needs to do and how to do it.
Okay. Has he visited?
So he had a visit on June 21st. He had a visit on June 28th. He canceled on July 12th, canceled July 19th, canceled July 26th, canceled August 2nd, and canceled August 9th. And then our counseling center that holds these meetings ended their contract because of the cancellations. Now, when I did contact Mr. Goldsmith at the end of last month, he did let me know that it was a transport problem. And so I asked him to identify days and times that would work for him to see if we can get him transport to and from visits as well as a child, but I have not heard back from him on this yet.
Okay. And did you attempt to contact him at the good email address that had been working?
Yes, I just responded to the email thread that we had already started.
Okay. Is there a need for any additional services for either parent at this point in time?
Not at this time.
Okay, so you would ask the court to just maintain the current service plan?
Yes.
Okay. At this point in time, do you have a likely date by which Braley could be returned home, adopted, or placed in a permanent managing conservatorship?
As in or like reunification. It does take 6 months. We would like to see 6 months of stable housing, stable employment, drug-free. So.
Okay. And have you identified a current permanency plan?
Yes, reunification concurrent with related adoption conservatorship.
Okay. Have you made reasonable efforts to finalize that plan, including the concurrent permanency goals, to the best of your ability?
Yes.
Okay. I think that's all I have. I pass the witness. Thank you, Ms. Sims.
All right, thank you. Ms. Stevens?
When was the last time you had contact with my client, the father?
It was, let me look. I put you on the email.
Yeah, so it was last week.
Is the last time I emailed you and him together.
Have you heard from him since then?
I have not.
Okay, pass the witness.
All right. Ms. Naranjo?
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Sims, is it fair to say that both parents have completed little to no services at this point?
At this time, yes.
And have either parents complied with any drug screens?
No.
And for Ms. Pierce, she's continued to deny you access to her residence. Is that correct?
At this time, yes.
I'll pass the witness.
All right. Anyone have any further questions for Ms. Sim?
No, sir.
All right, then. Mr. Graff, any other witnesses?
No other witnesses at this time, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Stevens, any witnesses?
No.
All right. Ms. Naranjo, witnesses?
No witnesses, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Naranjo, recommendations?
Your Honor, Braley is doing very well in placement. I do recommend that both parents' visitations be suspended until they begin initiating services and comply with doing a drug screen, as well as I would ask that Ms. Pierce not have visitation until she allows the department to have access to her residence.
Okay. Ms. Nelson, Casa, have anything to add?
You're asking for my recommendation?
I'm sorry? I think she's frozen.
You said something and I didn't hear you.
Is this you, Miss Nelson? Is that you talking? I'm not sure she's frozen and muted. Okay, looks like she dropped off. We'll let her come back real quick.
And I dropped off for a second there as well, Your Honor, just for the record.
Okay. Now I can hear you. Can you hear us?
Okay. Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, Miss Nelson,
We agree with Mr. Ronho that parents visitation.
Okay, I'm just going to leave. Okay. All right, then. I will continue the department's temporary managing conservator, continue the current placement. I will order that both parents' visitation be suspended until each parent begins working their services as contained in their service plan, and also be suspended until each provides a negative hair strand and UA drug screen. And as far as Ms. Pierce is concerned, hers will continue to be suspended until she allows the department and/or St. Francis access to view her residence for safety. All right. Looks like, give me just a second here. It looks like our next permanency hearing will be on December 18th, 2024. That will be by Zoom like today's hearing, so parties and attorneys can go on the court's online docket a day or two in advance of December 18th to see exactly what time we'll have that hearing. Ms. Gutierrez is with us for the department. Mr. Ingram is with us representing Philip. Mr. Ronho is with us representing the mother, Ms. Kearley, who is with us, and Mr. Kearley is also with us. I don't show Casa. I have Courtney Brown and someone that's under DFPS observer in the waiting room.
So Courtney Brown is the caseworker on this one, Your Honor. I'm not sure who DFPS observer is. Can we bring them in and see?
Yeah, I'll let them in. I've told them before they're welcome to sit in on hearings just to see how they go. Okay, looks like we've got everyone except Casa. So no one's in the waiting room. Ms. Gutierrez, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. We request that the court take judicial notice of the court report filed on August 28th of 2024.
All right, so noted, and I have read that report.
And the department calls Courtney Brown as its witness.
All right.
Who are his parents?
Jessica and Robert Wayne.
And this is a case where they are joint managing conservators with the department. Is that correct? Or are they?
That's correct.
Department PMC. Is the department PMC in this one, Courtney Brown?
I believe we're joint managing conservators.
Okay, thank you. Are there any updates on the case since the court report regarding the child?
No real case updates. I did meet with Philip's grandparents and their CPA worker after the court report was filed, just to kind of touch base about permanency goals for Philip and what the plan would look like for that. But he's doing well with his grandparents and everyone's really thrilled that he's there.
Okay. And the court report indicates that the grandparents are wanting to adopt once they hit the 6 months mark. Is that correct?
So the goal still is adoption, but the meeting I had with his grandparents was kind of just exploring a possible PMC situation. So PMC to the grandparents or adoption. The issue that we were kind of trying to figure out was that 6 month mark, because not everybody, might be comfortable with 6 months.
And in your,
yes, ma'am.
uh-oh, did I freeze?
Nope.
Yeah, she did.
No, maybe she did freeze.
Am I back?
Yes.
Okay, I apologize. I'm going to switch to Zoom on my phone. There's, okay, well, if I need to, I'll call in instead. It looks like my phone connection isn't great also. I apologize for the delay. Now, Courtney, as far as services for the parents, is the only service we are requesting at this time to be ordered family therapy?
Yes.
And who would be involved in the family therapy?
It would be Phil, his parents, and then his grandparents on occasion.
And in regards to his medication list on page 5 to 6 of the court report, is that list updated?
Yes.
Guidelining Eagles receiver AJ Brown, so Bonta Smith and Jahan Dotson will be stepping up becoming Jalen Hurts' top targets. Falcons will need a strong showing from QB Kirk Cousins, who's coming off a disappointing performance against the Steelers last week. Also exciting for Eagles fans, Jason Kelsey coming back here to his home turf.
Ms. Gutierrez is back. Somebody's got some background noise going on. So, okay, looks like it's gone. Can you hear Ms. Gutierrez?
Yes, Your Honor, I apologize about that. Can I turn my video off for the remainder of the hearing?
Sure.
Thank you. And now, Ms. Brown, when I cut off, I believe I'd asked you about the medication list in the court report and whether or not it was updated.
Yes, ma'am.
And is it updated?
Yes.
And has the child expressed any opinion regarding that medication?
No, ma'am. He's doing fine with it.
And is it being reviewed at least every 30 days by a psychiatrist?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, briefly, what is the primary goal in the case?
Right now, it's still family relative adoption.
Okay. And what reasonable efforts has the department taken to complete that permanency goal?
He is placed with his grandparents, who would be the ones adopting him.
And in regards to the current goal, what is the concurrent goal?
Family reunification.
And what steps have we taken to affect that concurrent goal as well?
Phil has frequent contact with his family as well.
And is providing services to help Philip with his emotional and mental challenges, is that also a reasonable effort by the department towards both goals?
Yes.
How is visitation going for the parents and Phil?
It's going well. There's not a set visitation schedule, but they do have frequent visits with Phil.
Is there any other information you'd like to share with the court?
No, ma'am.
Pass the witness.
All right, thank you. Ms. Brown, I think I'd already ordered family therapy in the last hearing, but I'll be happy to do it again. And my notes indicate that I'd ordered for Philip to have an MRI, but I didn't. My notes don't say why. Do you recall what that was about?
I don't, Judge.
Okay. All right. And from the report I read, and then from what you said today, whether it be adoption or PMC, at least today, the grandparents are on board to be long-term placement?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you. Ms. Naranjo?
Miss Brown, you mentioned that there was an issue about the 6 months. What do you mean?
Well, so I know in my report I said 6 months and then we would move forward with adoption. Obviously, not everybody would be ready for adoption necessarily at that 6-month mark. So that's why we kind of had that visit, just to discuss, what their timeline looked like versus what my timeline looked like, just so we were all on the same page. But yes, obviously after that 6-month mark, when everybody's comfortable moving forward, we're still hoping to explore adoption.
I'll pass the witness.
All right. Mr. Ingram?
No questions.
All right, then. All right, Ms. Gutierrez, any other witnesses?
No other witnesses, Your Honor. The department rests. We do request the finding of reasonable efforts towards both goals for the child as well as the family therapy.
All right, I will make the reasonable findings requested. Mr. Naranjo, did you have any witnesses?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Ingram, recommendations?
Continue the department and parents as joint managing conservator, continue placement with the grandparents. Philip appears to be doing well.
Okay. All right, then. I don't believe we ever had a CASA come in. There's no one, there's a person in the waiting room, but they're for our next hearing. So I will continue the department and the parents as joint managing conservators. I'll continue Philip's current placement. I will once again order the family therapy. And I'm not sure, maybe among the parents or grandparents or St. Francis, maybe someone can figure out why I would have ordered an MRI. So if that's needed, then it's already been ordered. So, all right, our next review hearing will be for March 3rd, 2025. That will be by Zoom like today's hearings. So parties and attorneys can go on the court's online docket a day or two before March 3rd to see exactly what time we'll have that hearing. Okay, it's a little past 10 o'clock. Morning, everyone.
Good morning, Judge. Is it possible to have a breakout room with Mr. Hill, and I don't know if Ms. Archer is on yet?
If not, we'll give her a minute and then I'll be happy to put y'all in a breakout room.
Okay, and then Mr. Ingram as well.
Yeah. All right. I have Amanda Jones and Megan Jepcott.
If you could let them both in, that's the worker and the supervisor.
Okay. All right. We'll give Ms. Archer a few minutes and then we'll be back.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Judge, I am back. I don't know if you are able to put their clients now in the breakout room, or if you need to close it out and do a new one.
No, I think I can assign them.
Okay, perfect.
They'll be in the same room.
Yes, I think that's okay with them. I don't know if dad is with mom.
Yeah.
Sometimes they come in together.
Yeah, I had at one point, I had two Lorenzo Velardes in the waiting room, but only one finally made it in. So let me go ahead and just do that. I'll assign him and we'll see what happens, because I don't have anybody else that could be, unless they're together. I don't have anybody else that can be them.
Okay, thank you, Judge.
Huh?
Judge, sorry, I hate to interrupt, but can you put me and my client in a breakout room, please?
Sure. Who do you want in with you?
Megan Jepcott and Amanda Jones.
In your own breakout room, or join the others?
In my own, please.
Okay, all right. Okay, it looks like the lawyers are back, except Courtney is in a breakout room with her clients right now, so we'll wait for her to come back.
Judge, we're back and we're ready to proceed.
We're here on a compliance hearing following an order to participate. Ms. Wiggins is with us for the department. Mr. Ingram's with us representing the child. Mr. Hill's with us representing the alleged father, Mr. Velarde Jr., who is with us, I guess. We got somebody under his name. Miss Archer's with us representing the mother, Miss Renteria. I don't know, was she in there with Mr. Velarde?
Yes, Your Honor, she is present with him.
Okay, all right. All right, that accounts for all the parties. I think I've got Kathy Jones and James Saint in the waiting room. So I think that's for other hearings. Okay, we may proceed.
Thank you, Judge. I call Amanda Jones.
For the record, I have not seen the report for today's compliance hearing, so I'm not aware of anything that's happened since July 15th at our last hearing. Ms. Wiggins.
Thank you, Judge. Ms. Jones, are you the family-based safety services worker for the Velarde OTP?
Yes.
And in regards to the OTP, can you just briefly describe the reasons for getting involved originally?
The reasons for involvement originally were due to Violet, the baby, being in the hospital, having medical concerns, and then mother's mental health concerns. We did a drug test after the OTP was ordered, and there were also concerns with father's substance abuse.
Now, since then, we've requested and dad has complied in starting the project program. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And he continues to still have one session left to go to complete that program. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And via his hair follicle drug screens, do we still continue to have some concerns with just maintaining that sobriety?
Yes.
Now, in regards to the case, where is the child currently?
Violet is currently at Northwest Texas Hospital.
And what was the reason for her admission?
The admission paperwork states failure to thrive, and that was the report given to me by doctors on Thursday and Friday.
And as one of the issues in this case during the OTP the last 6 months has been the child feeding as well as not gaining any weight. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And has the department been monitoring doctor's appointments and follow-ups for all of the medical that the child has to go to?
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry, Ms. Jones, I didn't hear about hospital.
I believe it's Northwest Texas Hospital. Is that correct, Ms. Jones?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
And in regards to that medical, have there been concerns with any type of missed appointments?
There's been missed appointments with speech therapy, which is feeding therapy for Violet.
And clearly that's part of the main reason for the child to be in the hospital. Is that correct?
Yes.
And is it your understanding that the child was placed on a temporary feeding tube?
Yes.
And were you present in the room when medical was discussing that feeding tube with the mother?
Yes.
And how did mother receive that information?
She seemed concerned about the feeding tube, but was in agreement to it. They discussed what that would look like in the short term over the weekend as well as longer term. And there was some confusion about that, but the medical staff stated they would continue to work with them to help family understand the needs.
Okay. And was the child also formally diagnosed with cerebral palsy?
Yes.
And given those medical conditions, has the department been trying to work with the parents and the hospital and getting potentially home health care to help monitor the situation and help mom, who's the primary caregiver, with the child during the day?
Yes, home health was discussed as a possible option on Friday. The social worker and therapist and doctor were going to have to look into whether she would qualify and what that would look like whenever after the feeding tube was placed and additional resources needed after that.
And in regards to the case, are we asking for an extension due to help to help monitor the situation with the continued doctor's appointments and the continued increased needs that the child has in the home?
Yes.
And do you believe that it would be beneficial to both the parents and the child that the department remain there to monitor the situation?
Yes, I do.
Did it appear that mom understood what was going on in the situation with the feeding tube and how to care for the baby going forward?
I don't know that she completely understood what that would look like, just due to the newness of it and being overwhelmed with having her baby back in the hospital. She seemed interested in learning about it. I just don't know how much of that she understood, as it was very new when it was happening on Friday morning.
Now, and just to clarify, we're not asking for any additional services. We're just asking that the department be in the case to monitor the medical situation, that dad continue to complete the Padre program that he's working, and that dad submit to random drug screens. Is that correct?
Correct. And that we continue to monitor mother's mental health.
Correct. Thank you for clarifying that. In regards to the mother, has she been attending those appointments for her own mental health?
She has. She missed an appointment, she told me, in August due to the parents misplacing the phone with the reminders in it. But I spoke with the provider on Friday, and she's scheduled for appointments with the doctor and her case manager.
And do you think that's even more important for her to be focused on her mental health as well, just because of all the new issues that are going on with the baby medically?
Yes, very stressful for parents.
And obviously, if they did reach out, the parents, and needed counseling or something that they wanted to voluntarily do, the department could help them with that as well.
Yes, I've offered counseling to mother in the past when we found out that TPC would likely recommend counseling and their wait list was a lot longer than ours. Mother stated she was not interested at that time, but we can continue to be a resource for her in the future for that.
Now, in regards to drug screens, when was the last time that the father drug screened?
He last tested on September 4th.
And after the last court hearing, did you ask him to screen?
Yes, he was ordered to screen the following day after the court hearing.
Okay, and was he compliant?
He did test, yes.
Okay, did he test that day?
Yes, the day after the court hearing, which was what was ordered.
Okay, and in regards to him missing work, are you working with requesting those drug screens on days when you know he has days off?
Yes, the last test I attempted to have him test on a day that he had a morning appointment in Lubbock with the child, and then the weekend when I thought he would be off, but he stated he had signed up for overtime that weekend.
Okay, and then also you had him or requested him to go on a Tuesday when he was off as well, is that correct?
He volunteered to go on that Tuesday after he told me he couldn't go the Friday or the Saturday that I sent him.
Okay, and did he go on that Tuesday?
He did, but he went after the 4 o'clock cutoff time, and so he had to go the following day.
Okay, so him potentially missing work was due to his own choice of when he went to test, not due to your request.
Correct. He stated he thought the clinic would let him test until closing time, but they have a cutoff for CPS clients at 4 p.m.
Okay, so you are making, or the department is making every effort we can to avoid him missing any work for the drug screens.
I will continue to try, yes.
Okay. Right. I'll pass the witness, Judge.
All right, thank you, Ms. Archer.
And do you have any concerns on the drug screens for mom?
We haven't tested Ruby since the initial test. That test was negative, and we haven't had any additional concerns requiring a drug test at this point.
Are you willing to forego the requirement that she continue to drug screen then?
We haven't asked her to.
Time with the baby?
Y'all talked over each other. Ms. Archer, ask your question again.
Is the department willing to stop the drug screens on mom, seeing how she's spending so much time at the hospital and with the baby?
I haven't asked her to test since the original test months ago.
Okay. And you mentioned the department being concerned because of missed appointments. Were you speaking of doctor appointments with pediatrician?
The speech and feeding therapy with Northwest Texas therapist.
Do you know how many of those were missed?
On Friday, I was told 5 out of 9, but I would have to check their records. That was information provided on Friday from the doctor.
And the baby's still in the hospital, correct?
Yes.
So I'm assuming mom would be schooled in how to do the feeding before baby's released, right?
I believe so. The feeding tube was just placed on Friday, and so I don't know that they've had enough time to address that at this point.
I'll pass the witness.
All right, Mr. Hill.
Well, thank you, Judge, and I apologize for my camera being off. My laptop is being finicky this morning.
That's fine.
Ma'am, when was Mr. Velarde's last positive UA?
On July 16th.
And how many UAs has he had since then?
Just one.
And that was on 9/4?
Yes.
Okay, and the UA was clean on 9/4, is that right?
Yes.
And the numbers on 7/16 were high, low, medium?
With marijuana, it's difficult to say due to the way it's metabolized. The hair strand was positive at a 0.3 and the UA was positive at 67.
Okay, so those are pretty low numbers.
I'm going to object to speculation. I think just putting the numbers out there and letting the court decide value. Sorry, did you rule, Judge? Did you hear my objection?
Yeah, I said sustained.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, Judge. I apologize, I didn't hear it either. Okay, ma'am, the hair test numbers, have they been coming down steadily during the course of this case?
I would have to go back and look about an original test. I don't have that one in front of me right now.
Do you have it on your computer? Could you pull it up relatively quickly?
I can try.
Okay.
And Judge, I did find that test if Mr. Hill is okay with me saying what the levels are.
Sure.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's fine.
So that original test was April 18th of 2024. And it was positive actually for cocaine metabolite, which has not been in any of the other drug screens that I'm aware of since. And the marijuana was 0.8.
In the hair?
In the hair, yes, in the hair.
And ma'am, I believe you said that currently the last hair follicle was 0.3, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so a declining trajectory anyway over the course of the case. Would you agree?
Yes.
Okay. The in-home care that the department is willing to offer the family with respect to the feeding tube, or even if it turns into a gastric tube, would that be at no cost to the family, or would they have to pay for that, or how does that work?
I'm not positive. That would likely be through Medicaid and insurance. And so I don't have access to that until it's assessed.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. And is it part of the department's function, since it's not coming through the department, to help them fill out the paperwork, to make sure they get the paperwork done correctly so that they can get the maximum benefits that are available to them?
I can help, but generally I believe that's done through the discharge process with the hospital and social workers and nurses, but I can check.
Okay. So if the department's relatively hands-off with respect to home health care moving forward, what benefit exactly would the department be providing by extending the case if you don't help them?
Well, we're wanting to ensure that for one, Mr. Velarde continues to maintain sobriety, since that has been a concern, and that they follow through with those appointments because there has been concerns with the feeding therapy.
And if they need assistance getting those appointments, is that something you can help with?
Yes, I can help call some providers.
Okay. And again, a concern that Mr. Velarde had was that he was missing work to take these drug tests. You are assuring him and the court both that you can work with him to schedule them on days when he is not working. Is that right?
I can try it when he signs up for overtime. That's not something that I can schedule all the time. And so I attempt to, but I can't promise that I'm going to know his work schedule at all times.
Sure, that's understandable. When you schedule his test, do you just schedule it, then call him and say, hey, you've got to go tomorrow, or you've got to go today? Or do you schedule it for several days out so he's got an attempt or a chance to rearrange his schedule? Or do you even call him and say, hey, look, when in the next several days are you not working so I can schedule a drug test?
No, I just call him and ask him to go to that day since they are random, and they need to be completed within a period of time so that he's not able to, I guess, mess with the test to ensure the results come out a certain way.
Okay, so marijuana is not like alcohol or some other drug that clears the system pretty quick, like 24 hours or anything like that. It's in the system for quite some time. Can you work with him? Can you call him and say, hey, look, in the next 2 or 3 days, what hours are you working, or what day are you not working in the next 2 or 3? Can you work with him in that manner to where he can not miss work? Because I presume money is pretty important to this family, as it is to every family.
I can try and ask for his weekly work schedule, but when they're random drug tests.
Let me cut to the chase. That's what I'm going to rule anyway. I'm going to order he provide his work schedule as soon as he gets it, and that's about the best we can do.
Very good. Thank you, Judge. That fixes it. Okay. I have no further questions.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Ingram, any questions?
No questions.
Okay. All right. Any follow-ups for Ms. Jones?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Ms. Wiggins, did you have any other witnesses?
I did not, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Archer, any witnesses?
No witnesses.
All right. Mr. Hill.
No witnesses.
Mr. Ingram, recommendations?
Judge, I do believe it to be in the child's best interest that the order to participate be extended and the department remain in and the orders remain in place.
All right. Thank you. Okay, then I will grant the department's motion to extend the participation case. I will order the parents to continue working the services that have previously been ordered. I'll order that Mr. Velarde provide St. Francis with his work schedule as soon as he receives it, so that we can aid in when his drug tests are scheduled. I understand, Ms. Jones, that kind of takes away some of the randomness, but with a medically needy child that's probably going home, dad needs to work. So I understand it's a give and take. So, okay, Ms. Wiggins, do you want another compliance hearing?
Yes, sir.
How far out?
I would say early November if possible.
I've got November 4th. Does that work?
That works.
Okay. I will set another compliance hearing just like today's hearing for November 4th, 2024. It will be by Zoom just like today's hearing, so parties and attorneys can go on the court's online docket a day or two in advance of November 4th to see exactly what time we'll have that hearing. Adversary hearing. All right, we'll stand in. Ms. Gutierrez is with us for the department. Mr. Ingram's with us representing the child. Mr. Saint is with us representing the father of the two Hewitt children, Aaron Hewitt, who is with us. Mr. Adams is with us representing the mother of the children, Stacy Hewitt, who is with us. The alleged father of the foster child, Mr. Harley Bennett, is not with us and not in my waiting room. I have Stephanie Corbett, Sarah Tierey, T-I-R-E-Y, and David Anderson in the waiting room.
David Anderson is my investigator, Your Honor. Stephanie Corbett is the future St. Francis worker that will be on the case. And Ms. Tierey will be my first witness, Your Honor, but I believe there's a possible agreement at least to most of the issues.
All right. Do the lawyers need to go into a breakout room or what?
Well, I can ask. I've heard from Mr. Saint. It sounds like his client is agreeable, but is requesting that the children be placed with Ms. Hewitt, which my client is opposed to, Your Honor. I could check in with Larry Adams. Mr. Adams, is your client agreeable to any portion of the adversary hearing?
She understands the reasons for removal. Your client's opposed to putting the kids with her if he moves out?
Yes.
Okay.
The breakout room, Mr. Adams?
Yeah, probably.
Okay. All right. Ms. Hewitt, I'm going to put you in a breakout room with your lawyer. You may be asked to join, or it may just put you in there automatically.
Ms. Gutierrez, is your client opposed to placing with the paternal grandparents?
I believe they are out of state, or is that correct? No, they're not. Okay. Let me check in with my client about that issue by phone. I'll text them right now and let you know. Mr. Saint, my client would be opposed as well. And I can shoot you an email as to that as well. You're muted.
You'll let me know why.
Yes.
Okay.
Your Honor, do you think we could let Stephanie Corbett into the hearing since she'll be taking over the case after the adversary hearing?
I'm sorry, Ms. Gutierrez, I was on the phone. Were you talking to me?
Yes, Your Honor, I was. I was requesting that Stephanie Corbett be allowed
Into the same breakout room with Mr. Adams and his client? No?
No, sir, into the hearing, or is she already in here?
Stephanie Corbett, I'm sorry. I was on the phone, not paying attention to the waiting room. Yeah, I'll get her in now.
Okay, thanks.
Judge, I'm sorry. Would it be possible for me to meet with my client?
Sure. I'll put you two in a breakout room also. Okay, it appears everybody's back now. Where do we stand?
Your Honor, Ms. Hewitt is agreeable to a temporary managing conservatorship by the department, but she just wants to make it known to the court that she'd like the kids to be placed with the paternal grandparents, paternal father and stepmother. And I think the department is already working on home study and trying to get that approved because there was a prior CPS finding on the grandfather a long time ago.
Yes, Judge. My understanding is that was from like 2001, and it really had to do with the mother, who with Aaron's mother, who is not in the home. The grandfather's remarried. He's not contesting TMC. He would like the children placed with his mother, and obviously family is considered more important. Placing with family is considered more important. I'm told the department is opposed to that because of history on them from 2001 and 2011. My client has no idea what the 2011 is. And we have no idea what the history is.
Here's the best I can do to get today, right here, right now, is I'll order the home study on the paternal grandmother or father, whichever one is the biological. But I'm not going to place today if that's part of what your clients are agreeable to. I'm not going to place with anybody who's had any CPS history until we at least do the home study on them. So
that's fine, and that's what he would like is that that the court does order a formal home study, and then when we get that back, if necessary, we could have it.
So both parents want the same person to be placement. It's just a matter of not willing to do it today. Is that correct, or are we looking at two different?
No, you're correct, Your Honor.
Okay.
And we're agreeable to that.
Are we looking at paternal grandmother or grandfather and a step parent?
Grandfather and
stepmom. Okay.
And they're both against maternal grandparents.
Okay. Well,
that live in Kansas.
I obviously won't order that. All right, let me just ask you, Mr. Adams, with that, if what you're telling me, here's what I'm willing to rule today, is that the department will continue as temporary managing conservator, current placements will continue, and I'll order an expedited home study on the paternal grandfather and stepmom. Is that, Mr. Adams, is that your client's agreement?
Yeah, we're agreeable to that, Your Honor.
Okay. And Mr. Saint, you heard it. Is your client agreeable to that?
Yes, Judge, he is agreeable.
Okay. Mr. Ingram, are you in agreement?
Yes, Your Honor, I am in agreement. I also need to inform the court that I have been contacted by the maternal grandmother in Kansas, who was previously placement for the children when they were in CPS care in Kansas. I understand that both parents are against placement with her, but I felt like I needed to make the court aware that I had been contacted by her and she was wanting a home study done.
Okay, well, she's not a party. So if the parents aren't, if they're not on the resource list, then we'll deal with that down the road if it becomes an issue.
I understand.
Okay. What is paternal grandfather's name?
Can I ask my client, Judge? I'm not sure. Mr. Hewitt, can you tell the judge your father's name?
It is James Hewitt.
Was that James? He's got
James Hewitt, it sounds like he said.
What's the stepmother's name?
It is Tina Hewitt.
Okay. Okay.
And Judge, if you may, I already started the process for that home study.
Okay. All right. All right then. I will approve that agreement. I will continue the department's temporary managing conservator, continue the children's current placements. I'll order an expedited home study on James and Tina Hewitt. For my records, I need to know each child where they're placed, either city or town, and what type of facility, and if any of them are together.
And Your Honor, if I may ask Stephanie Corbett about where each child is placed.
Sure.
Ms. Corbett, can you let us know where each child is placed?
The two children, Callie and Gentry, are placed in a foster home in Plainview. And Levi is placed in a GRO in Katy, Texas.
Okay, thank you.
Additionally, Your Honor, we are requesting that the parents be ordered to drug screen.
Okay.
And Kathy, or it's David's on here. David, can you let me know what type of drug screens we are requesting for each parent?
David's in the waiting room. Let me get him in.
Oh, I apologize, Your Honor. I didn't realize he was in the waiting room.
Let's do UAs today.
Your Honor, we're asking for your analysis drug screens on each parent. And additionally, findings of reasonable efforts to reunify the family since the removal, as well as reasonable efforts to prevent removal prior to the removal.
All right, I'll make those findings now. Okay. In addition to what I've already approved the agreement, then I will order that both Miss Hewitt and Mr. Hewitt UA drug screen by 4 p.m. today at Care Express in Amarillo. Do both parents have transportation to get there? Or does the St. Francis need to provide that transportation? You both appear to be in vehicles. Do you have your own transportation?
Yes, sir, we do.
Okay. All right, then. I'll set the next hearing, the status hearing, for October 11th, 2024. That will be by Zoom like today's hearing, so parties and attorneys can go on the court's online docket a day or two before October 11th to see what time we'll have that hearing. I appreciate y'all working that out. And for any of you involved, I'll be back at 11:30 to call another Randall County adversary hearing.
Courtney, I think we're going to have, well, I don't think, horrible habit I've gotten into. We are going to agree to work services today. And then, so I don't think we're going to need a contested hearing from our standpoint.
Great.
Before Judge gets in here, has my client been able to give names to any potential placement, and has all that been taken care of? I think it has, based on what I read. I just want to make sure.
I believe so. If not, the caseworker is Erica Flores.
Okay.
And she should, if she hasn't already, reached out to Mr. Downen.
Okay.
And so, because she's the one I think that provided the information to you on his number. So
right. Okay.
Yeah,
I think that's been done as well. If not, I'll just tell Kelton right now. Kelton, any placement that you recommend or would like to see and looked into, if you haven't already done so, just give that information to your caseworker and they will follow through with that. Okay. All right. I saw him say yes. All right. Thank you.
All right. We're still waiting for Miss Riley so that we can see where we stand with the mother.
And Judge, I have been texting Miss Riley. She is in court in Hereford. And so she said that her and the mother had come to an agreement as well, just like the father has. And I just instructed her that you would probably ask Miss Ferrer herself if she was in agreement, and then that's how we would continue.
All righty. I don't think I've even called the case, so let me do that first. We're here on an adversary hearing. Miss Wiggins is with us for the department. Mr. Ingram's with us representing the child. Mr. Barfield is with us representing the alleged father, Mr. Downen, who is also with us. And the mother, Miss Ferrer, is with us. Her attorney, Miss Riley, apparently is in another hearing. Miss Riley, can you hear me? I'm sorry, Miss Riley. Miss Ferrer, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You've heard what's been announced, that you've talked to your lawyer and you were in agreement. Basically the same as the alleged father, that the department will continue as temporary managing conservator, and the child's placement will continue. We'll do home studies on whoever you guys are asking for. Is that your agreement today without your lawyer being here?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'll tell you this, Ms. Frere, if something were to happen and you talk to your lawyer later, if your lawyer was unhappy with what happened, I would most likely rehear this since your lawyer could not be present. So, okay. All right. And Mr. Barfield, again, I've heard you, but is this your client's agreement?
It is, Your Honor. Mr. Downing, would you please just affirmatively tell the court that this is our agreement?
Yes, this is our agreement.
Okay, thank you, sir. All right, Mr. Ingram, are you in agreement?
I am, Judge, and just for court's information, I just double checked the petition. I show Mr. Downing pled as a presumed father.
Do you? Okay, I showed him as alleged.
And the
that
child
was
is, I'm sorry, I was just going to let you know the child is placed locally with a maternal uncle.
Okay, that's what I needed. Give me just a second.
Well, you're writing, Judge. So Harry, so he's a presumed father. Is that correct?
That's what's in the petition.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't remember off the top of my head, Brooks, if they had a previous order, if there was an AOP. But it should be listed either a modification or AOP in the petition. Sorry.
Okay, I made a note of that. Okay, then I will approve the agreement reached by the parties. I will continue the department as temporary managing conservator, continue Luke's current placement. We'll have the next hearing, a status hearing that will be concerning what services the department may be asking the parents to work. That will be held on October 28th, 2024. It will be by Zoom, just like today's hearing, so parties and attorneys can go on the court's online docket a day or two before October 28th to see exactly what time we'll have that hearing. All right, then. This was our last hearing for the day. I appreciate y'all working that out. We'll stand in recess. See you back on October 28th, and everybody have a good week.
Thank you. And just for the record, that was a modification of a previous order out of the 72nd District Court.
Okay. All right. All right. Y'all have a good week.
Thank you.
Judge.
Status hearing. We're trying to get a hold of Tracy Riley and see if she's going to be joining us. Ms. Wiggins, I have Erica Flores in the waiting room. Is that your witness?
Yes, Judge.
Okay, I'll get her in and we'll try to get a hold of Miss Riley real quick. And if we can't, we'll go ahead and get started. So
Okay, thank you, Judge.
Be back shortly.
I think Tracy's figuring out that you get to be in multiple places at the same time, Courtney, when you do.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Little
an
different.
adjustment.
It is,
Sure it's
I
an
bet.
adjustment.
I bet. You looking good, Brooks.
Well, so are you.
Thanks. I think
seen you in a
pickleball
while.
becomes you. I saw you on Facebook.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, lots of people see me on Facebook. Usually cussing at me under their breath.
All right.
Well, I'm going to go back dark till we start.
Yep.
We're here on a status hearing. Ms. Wiggins is with us for the department. Mr. Ingram's with us representing the child. Mr. Barfield's with us representing the father, Mr. Downing, who is with us, and the mother, Miss Ferrer, is with us. Again, we've not heard from Miss Riley. We've got other cases set, so we're going to go ahead and proceed. Miss Ferrer, if anything happens today that you're unhappy with, let Miss Riley know, and I would more than likely rehear the case if we need to. So, all right. No one in the waiting room. Miss Wiggins, you may proceed.
Thank you, Judge. I call Erica Flores.
Okay.
Is
Ms.
he
Flores, if you'd
currently
raise
still
your
placed in his victim kin placement?
Yes.
And have we also started, it looks like per your court report that there is a home study potentially started on paternal grandparents. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you talk just a little bit louder? Sorry, I'm just having a little trouble hearing you.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that's better. Just get a little closer.
Sorry.
That's okay. And in regards to this hearing, have you created service plans for the parents?
Yes, I have.
And are they reasonably tailored to address the issues of removal?
Yes.
And I think you'd agree one of the biggest concerns was drug use as removal. Is that correct?
Yes.
Are both parents ordered to complete an OSAR evaluation and do any treatment recommended?
Yes, ma'am.
And in regards to that, are we also asking for random drug screening?
Yes.
And are we asking for UA drug screens today?
Yes, ma'am.
And are both parents aware of what location they need to go to drug screen?
Yes.
From your understanding, do both parents have transportation to do that?
Yes.
Now, in regards to the service plans, were you able to meet with both parents to go over and work with them to create the service plans?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you meet with Mr. Downing for his service plan?
Yes, ma'am.
And did he understand everything that was being requested of him?
Yes.
And did he sign his service plan?
Yes.
And in regards to Ms. Ferrer, did she as well go over her service plan with you and sign it as well?
Yes, ma'am.
And did they seem open and willing to work services?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And in regards to the parents, are they having visitation with the child?
Yes.
And is that visitation going well?
Yes, ma'am. They're going great.
Okay. Are there any other concerns that we need to address with the court today?
No.
And at this time, do you believe it would be a danger or contrary to the welfare of the child to be placed with either parent today?
Yes.
Do you believe that it would be against the child's welfare to be placed today before we've had any, long-term intervention?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I'll pass the witness, Judge.
Okay. Ms. Flores, would it be a continuing danger to the physical health and safety of Luke to be returned to either parent today?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. All right. Mr. Barfield, questions?
No, sir. I don't have any questions for this witness.
All right. Ms. Ferrer, we still couldn't find Ms. Riley. Do you have any questions you wanted to ask Ms. Flores?
No.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. Mr. Ingram, any questions?
No questions.
All right. Ms. Wiggins, anything further from the department?
No, Your Honor, we would just ask the court to take judicial notice of the court report that was filed that does list the services and the service plans that have been filed with the court as well. Additionally, we would ask that you make a finding of reasonable efforts to reunify with the visitation and setting up the service plan.
All right. Then I will make those reasonable efforts findings. I will continue the department as temporary manager conservator, continue Luke's current placement. I'll order both parents to UA drug screen by 4 p.m. today. I assume that's at Care Express in Amarillo. Our next hearing, the initial permanency hearing, will be on February 24th, 2025. That will be by Zoom like today's hearing. So parties and attorneys can go on the court's online docket a day or two in advance of February 24th to see exactly what time we'll have that hearing. Mr. Down and Ms. Frere, if you'd unmute, please.
Yes, sir.
Can you both hear us? Hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I need to admonish you today that the services contained in your service plan become a court order. At a final hearing, if you have not worked those services, your parental rights could be altered or terminated. Do you both understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Okay, then we'll stand in recess on this case. For those of you involved, I'll be back at 10 o'clock.